Hello and welcome back to A Boring Revolution, your number one news source for everything in regards to the Boring Company and of course Elon Musk, that great man. Thank you for joining me for another live stream. I had an absolute beauty of a post on the Discord page 2 days ago, and it gave me the direct link to this beautiful live stream, which is pretty much on all the time, and we can see exactly what is going on site, which is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Not in my wildest dreams could I have hoped for better coverage. And I'll be frank with you, I've been watching this for quite a lot of the day, following the various things that have been going on. As you can see, it's not the busiest construction site in the world, but things are definitely going on below ground. They've got a fair few pieces of machinery on the site. Things seem to be progressing well. Where is this in terms of the actual Las Vegas Convention Center? It will be here, near number 1. In fact, it is just northeast of number 1, northeast of that intersection there. To the east of the South Hall. Now, some good questions you're probably going to be asking me is, that seems quite a small station, Will. How are they going to get in and out of that? Well, that is not a station, that is a launch pit. And the launch pit is actually situated north of where the actual station is going to be built. I do not know if that station has begun construction. I have no information in regards to that, but I presume that they will have wanted to have started that station as soon as possible. There's a distance of about 300 meters between this launch pit and the actual underground station, station number 1. So you wonder in what direction the TBM is going to be launched. You wonder if it's going to be going south towards the actual station, or is it going to go northeast towards Station 3 and Station 2? It's unclear at this stage. Before I get into the actual video and what I'm going to be talking about, let's have a look at what people are saying. Yeah, so I like to just do a little bit of an introduction where we let people join, and then once everyone's here I can say hello, rather than 10 or so people joining at fairly irregular intervals, and then it disturbs the live stream. Last minute drainage. yeah, so the live stream, if you would like to have a look at it, is located on my Twitter page. If you go to my Twitter page, it is here, pinned to the top of the message board. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so what are we seeing here on site? So you can see this forklift here. This seems to be moving rebar into position here. I don't know what that rebar is going to be used for, but he's been busy for the last couple of hours moving that there. And as you can see here, we have a crane which is going to be dropping that into. So what is actually on site based on what I've witnessed over the last 2 days? In the picture, you can clearly see a very large lattice boom crawler crane. Now these are fairly heavy lifters. I don't know if you can notice the grey steel boxes on the back. That's solid steel, that's a counterweight. So the fact that it's loaded up so high implies that they're obviously going to be moving large volumes of material into that launch pit. I've seen a loader roaming around yesterday, I've not seen it today. There's a long reach excavator. There's your typical bog standard excavator top left of the screen. I've seen a little bobcat as well running around. You can't run a job site without a bobcat. And a dump truck. If you can see these skips here just adjacent to the lattice boom crawler crane. They've been used to remove spoil and loose rocks from the excavation. They've been moving them and filling them all day long. Another crane, the long reach excavator, has been removed from site today. A semi-truck came about half an hour ago, removed that from site. It's absolutely brilliant that we can just see exactly what's going on here. To the right of your screen, you can just see that white box there. That is actually a ventilator. That's ventilating the shaft. It looks to me as if it's diesel powered, but I mean, what can you do? You can only use what you've got, eh? What else can I tell you? Well, what are my observations? Let's do it like that. I see the feeder's now stopped again, so let's start that. It seems to stop every minute or so. So, what are my observations from the last 2 days? So, as I've just mentioned, the launch pit is north of Station 1. There is a distance of about 300 meters from this launch pit to the station. I presume they have other TBMs, because if this TBM is going towards Station 2 and then on to Station 3, they're then going to need to run another TBM heading south from this location as well. We've also got, going from that Station 1, we have our passenger tunnel, which I presume is going to be formed via pipe jacking, but I've not heard anything in regards to how they're going to do that exactly, but I presume pipe jacking would be the most cost-effective means of doing that. In terms of this actual excavation itself, the actual launch pit, they ended up using secant piles. I thought they might end up using the tangent piles, which are basically the same, but they're not interlocked. They've gone for the secant piles. It's probably a much more rigid, stronger system, as they are lateral members. They've actually used internal H-beams inside the piles, which I was quite surprised at, but it does make sense in terms of saving time. As you can see, the actual primary piles are concrete, and then the secondary piles have a steel H-beam inside them. I presume that is all that's inside. I don't anticipate there'll be any other reinforcement, any rebar in there. Inside the excavation, we have our props. You can see our props here. If I go on to, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then below that we've got them doubled up, and then at the corner here we have these knees. Now, the ring beams themselves are approximately 8 to 10 foot centres. We've got 2 ring beams. The ring beams go around the perimeter of the excavation, and they are supported via these 10 props. The TBM, where is the TBM, Will? The TBM is in the background of this shot. We can't quite see it. It is to the left of this lattice boom crane here. I'll show you a picture of it in a minute. It seems to be going quite well. In fact, it's actually fairly well ahead of where I'd expect it to be at this particular time. As you can see on the live feed, the forklift is dropping some more rebar in here, which is phenomenal. Progressing very, very nicely. It's just laying it out there for the guys to tie up and then drop down into the excavation. I read a very good article on Tesla Arty, and they have this picture. As you can see, the main part of the machine is essentially complete. That basically means that they could probably get started in the next week or two, maybe 3 weeks at worst. We have our cutter head, we have our thrust cylinders there, we have our shield. We've even got our screw conveyor in the middle here, and that's all progressed very nicely. That's good to see. That'll hopefully be going into that launch pit very, very soon. But I guess we'll have to wait for that one. But as soon as it happens, I'll have the live video so I can just show you exactly what happens and when it happens. I'll know within 2 or 3 minutes of it occurring. So that's phenomenal. How great is it that we have a live stream of the actual site? We can see everything that's going on, and we can follow. There's a little bobcat running around there. You can't run a job site without a bobcat. In terms of this here, this ring beam, I presume that is some kind of form from which the actual TBM will enter or commence construction of the tunnel. I'm not 100% on that one. Well, I have to keep watching the live feed and see what I can find out, guys. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this episode nice and short today because I've not really got massive amounts to tell you other than what I've already just said. But as you can see, it's just a beautiful live stream, lovely picture. Let's see what you guys are saying. Are you excited? Are you all excited by the progress on site today? Because it's been phenomenal. And we can now witness it in full colour, live feed, all day long. Whenever you're at work and you're bored, bang this on, lads, and just have a watch. So let's have a look and see what everyone's saying. So GX gate, let's see, that's a shot. Be above ground, the same. No, Mike 20 SM. That, as far as I'm aware, that is incorrect. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's incorrect. The stations will be below ground. That's what's in the costings. I'd find it quite strange if they then change the whole design of the project and put them above ground. I mean, there are some advantages to having it above ground, but I presume it's going to stay below ground. There's nothing's been mentioned to me or in the news that states it's going to be moved above ground. I felt bored, so I thought I'd join. Thank you, Johnny. As always. Hi, James. How are you, mate? No, so GX Games Central. The TBM is at the side of the excavation out of shot. It's being assembled. It's still got a bit of work to do, but the main part of the actual machine, the shield, the thrust cylinders, the actual cutter head, the screw conveyor, that's all been assembled now, so the rest of it should follow quite rapidly. What are the beams for? Is that supporting the launch pit? Yes. So those are props. What the main thing with the piles is that they're lateral members, so they're going to be taking a lot of lateral pressure, and the pressure's moving out into the excavation. So to keep that excavation stable while it's being constructed, the beams are inserted and they prop up against the ring beams, which is basically just a steel beam that runs around the perimeter of the excavation. At some point, once the excavation is finished, some of those beams can be removed, and then hopefully later on, once the walls have been stabilised and they've cured, they can then remove the remainder of the props. Yeah, well, I've done a couple of screenshots. They've not come out exactly that well, but I might start posting a few things on Twitter and maybe on the Instagram as well. No. That's right, Johnny. No sleep for me. I was at work today and I had a look. I popped it on and I thought, you know what, I'll have a quick watch of this, see what's going on. And before I knew it, I'd wasted half an hour. And I thought to myself, Jesus, I'm not going to get any work done here. So I turned it off. But since I got home, I've been watching it for an hour or so. And it's been fascinating to see what's going on. That launch pit won't be there forever, though. I presume at some point they will either convert it into a ramp, maybe, or fill it in. It's not actually mentioned on the plans, but hopefully they have other webcams set up for other parts of the project, because obviously we have there's different stations that we want to keep track of. Hi, mate. Welcome back, Christopher. Right, before I go, I would like some questions. See what you're thinking. Right, so here's a good question for everyone out there. If you just want to write a quick response. Do you think that by, let's say, October 2020, do you think that this project will be completed? As in, all the construction work has been completed, the stations have been fitted out, and all the vehicles have been fully tested and calibrated for in the tunnels. And it's moved, is it 4,400 passengers per hour? That's the benchmark that needs to be passed. Who in the chat thinks that we will have completed that by the 1st of October 2020? Let's hear what you've got to say. There's our little bobcat there running around. He's got the funniest job on site, that lad. Look at him. He's going on a recce. Oh, it's stopped now. I need to fix this webcam so it stops. It doesn't stop. Oh, did I see that? Did I see that correctly? Bubble Elvis. You say it's not going to be completed. I had so much faith in you, my man. I thought you were one of the good guys. Yes, Christopher, I think they were. My personal opinion is, guys, the construction of the stations and the tunnels will be completed by the end of July 2020. So that's what, 8.5 months? Yeah. I think they'll finish early though, James. So I'm just wondering as to what you think. Because it would be nice if they finish early, because then potentially I could go down, fly over to Las Vegas before CES and maybe get a tour. That's what I'm thinking. Thinking very, very carefully about maybe sending an email asking if I can go for a tour in either July or August maybe. But we'll have to see. Mike has got the faith and he says absolutely. I agree. I think everything, all the testing will be done definitely by October. Yeah, possibly. I thought you were a believer, Bubble Elvis. I thought you were a believer in Elon Musk. It's the key question that I need answering, Johnny B, is are they using 2 TBMs or are they using just that 1 TBM? Or are they going to use that 1 TBM and then maybe have another company loan them another TBM? Is a lot of unanswered questions. There's no mention in the contract documents that they will use 2 TBMs. So that kind of, even though they don't say they're only using 1 TBM, it kind of pushes me in the direction to say they're going to use that 1 TBM. They're going to go from station 1 to station 3. Then they're going to remove that TBM and then flip it around and then come back from station 3 to station 2 to station 1, which I think is a cracker's idea. I think they should have 2 TBMs. They should have one starting at station 3 and one starting at this launch pit. Tight timeline, but I believe the project management team will come through. Yes, Christopher. That's what I want to hear. The worst thing that could ever happen is this project finishes like really, really late. Because then all the naysayers are just going to be absolutely decimating us. I'll get so much abuse on Twitter. I've got a bet with this consultant, this rail consultant here in the UK, and he's adamant that this is never even going to get finished. And he says if it does get finished, it'll be finished very late. I told him this is not high speed rail. You know, this is going to get done on time. There's no complications. The Boeing company's 100% focused on digging tunnels and nothing else, and that definitely plays in their advantage. Yeah. Good question, James. Good question. Can't really see that. What about that? Can you guys see that? So, the question is, do you think they'll continue on and tie in all the casinos on the Strip and the airport? Yes. I think once it's been all tested out in 2021, maybe in June 2021, so we're talking in around 19, 20 months' time, when they know everything works and they're fully happy with it, I think then there might be a tender coming in, maybe to link up the airport. I think they'll start with the Strip though, James. I think there'll be a specific casino or group of casinos on the Strip that will agree to these connections. So it might only be, let's put a number on it, because you know me, I like to put numbers on things. Let's say a 7.5 mile, 8 mile extension. And once they've linked up all those casinos, I definitely 100% think that they'll then try and link the airport, because the airport is just south of the Strip, isn't it? So once that goes in, that'll be phenomenal. It'll be really, really good, certainly for the Boeing company then to sell this system onto other municipal governments and onto other companies as well. It'd certainly make my job easier in terms of doing potential project videos if this project is then extended to the Strip and then the airport. It just makes sense because a lot of people fly into the airport and then go to the convention centre, possibly via the hotel, or maybe they go to the convention centre first, then to the hotel, and then back to the convention centre. Because I don't know if you guys actually know, but I actually work in a convention centre in Manchester. I work as part of the event safety team. I'm one of the lead site managers on that job. We're just building things like 3-4 days a week, like different conventions. So a lot of people come in, either they fly in or get the train. They come to the convention centre first, and then they go to one of the nearby hotels. So if they could link up the hotels and the convention centre and the airport, that is a guaranteed, bit of traffic every day. That easily, a few thousand vehicles potentially could be using the system every day, 7 days a week. That's a good income. Yeah. Well, it definitely helped because the Strip suffers from quite bad traffic and congestion during certain times of the day. It certainly improved the air quality along the Strip. The air quality is known to be quite bad at certain times of the day. Things are most of a spread out. Yeah. I mean, what else is there in Las Vegas that needs linking up? Apparently, the Oakland Raiders are moving to Las Vegas, so I presume they're becoming the Las Vegas Raiders, unless they're rebranding. So they've got a new stadium that could be linked up as well. I don't know. I presume Las Vegas has a train station. It might be worth linking that up. There are plans to run a high-speed train to Las Vegas via California. So if that does ever happen, linking up that high-speed train station to the Las Vegas loop would just be an absolute money machine, really. Yeah, Jesus, Mike, the cab drivers would be fuming, especially if it just takes all the money from them on the Strip. Because there's no driver and because it's electric, they'll be able to charge, $5-6 for a journey, which is a lot less than what they currently charge. They rip off cab drivers. Just a monopoly, man. I can't stand cab drivers. They make a ton of money. Certainly here in the UK, you can tell a cab driver because you drive by his house and he's got about 3 cars and a massive extension. They're ploughing that money. How about Hyperloop to LA? Yes. Yeah, and then obviously we could dig some of the tunnels for part of the way. It'd be up to the whoever develops the Hyperloop. Maybe it's Virgin One, Hyperloop TT, or there's a couple other companies. If they wanted to go underground for the entire distance, or maybe they want to go underground for part of the distance, that might be more cost effective. But then you've got problems with expansion of the tubes in such hot environments, so you then need to mitigate that. I mean, I like a good walk, Johnny, but the Strip is just insane. In Europe, we typically like to walk around the town centre, but in Las Vegas, it's just miles and miles and miles. There is a place in Vegas where they have a monorail somewhere. There was a new development. This happened in, I believe it was 2012. They built a lot of hotels, a casino, some commercial office buildings, and through that site, it's one of the biggest development sites in the USA at the time. They have a monorail, so I wonder if we could link up to that as well, because that area has obviously got a bit of money running through it. Right, okay guys, I think I'm going to call an end to this stream in the next sort of minute or so. Any questions before I go? Let's take a quick look at the feed and see what's going on. You'll be there in August. Are you going to a particular convention in August, or is that just that you go there for a night on the town, as they say here? Hit the casinos and find some girls. That's what everyone in Britain does if they want to go to Las Vegas. Hit the casinos and have some fun. I'm not seeing any questions, guys, so I think I'm going to call it a day. Hello. They've got a crane. I presume you can see this, guys. They've got the crane baskets going into the excavation. You got your running commentary now. Is that? How many people are in there? I can't even see anyone really. What's going in? Lovely. A couple of people going into the excavation there, I presume. A couple of engineers maybe, who knows. Yeah, it is Tesla earnings call. What are my thoughts on that? Hopefully they make a profit. I think it's about time Tesla starts making some small profits every quarter. And I'm not talking 100 million, but maybe, 30, 40 million. If before I go, guys, if you like this and you want to stay up to date, definitely come join me on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also hit the bell icon and you'll get notifications whenever I do a live stream or just a general video. I do some videos on Periscope as well occasionally and trying to build up that audience, but obviously my main audience is here on YouTube. I seem to be getting quite a good number of people watching both live and then afterwards. Okay guys, thank you very much for joining the live stream. Appreciate all your continued support. A lot of you guys are return customers, which means I must be doing something right. I'm going to keep watching the live stream. I'm going to keep updating you. I'm going to keep that positive attitude towards the Boring Company and the Las Vegas Loop. And we're going places, guys, because all the naysayers said this wouldn't happen, but it is happening. Appreciate all your support, especially Mike there. Thanks very much for that. I'll have a lot more future observations in the coming months and hopefully years as well. So, and remember guys, don't be boring. I shall see you soon. Goodbye. Take care. See you around.